So this morning was Pokemon Day and the Pokemon Presents. And I watched it this morning with my friend Wesley and Kurgoy. And then I went back to sleep because I worked late last night and I had to go to work, blah, 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 blah. So I've had all day to kind of digest what we saw. I was able to watch some reactions of Austin John, the Hidden Power podcast, and a little bit of Nintendo's reaction or like discussion. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time, but I do want to go through really quick and kind of give my impressions or my thoughts on what we saw. So here we go. Okay, Pokemon Concierge. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this. I think this is really cool. Never watched it yet, but the other day I did convince my wife to watch Pokemon the first movie with me, and she liked it, so I was thinking, probably got to watch this with her. Okay, so I play Pokemon Go a little bit, off and on. I am playing the Unova Tour this weekend with my dad, and we are planning to basically do raids and hang out. That's kind of it. The only Pokemon I care about, basically, for the home decks and also for the origin decks, is I need Larvesta and Larvitar. No, Larvesta and Volcarona, and I need Sigilif. I also need. So I bought the Egg Pass, the $5 Egg Pass. I never would have bought it, but I really want to make sure I get Sigilif and Larvesta and eggs so I can send them to home and also complete my origin deck section for Unova. And also, Cubfu is pretty cool, so that's really all I have to say about that. I played Pokemon Masters on release. I don't really care about Pokemon Masters. I think it's a fine mobile game, but I'm just not into it. I always get caught off guard by the cool sync pairs and stuff, though. It is cool. Cafe Remix? No. It's just not for me. So, Pokemon Sleep. I don't play Pokemon Sleep anymore. I did for a few months, I would say. Right around when Raikou or Entei first got... Whatever the first one was. Whenever they first got released is about when I stopped playing. But it's a fine game. I'm just like... it's too much work, I guess. It's just another thing that takes 5 minutes out of my day that I'm just not really into anymore. Pokemon Unite, I think, is a fine game. It's a League of Legends-like. I did play it on release. Got pretty into it, but I just haven't touched it in a while, and I don't really plan to. But new characters are always nice. And a new game mode, too. Pocket. I do like Pocket. I'm still playing Pocket every day. I think it's a tiny bit too early to release this new Arceus set. I think, they probably should have waited like 2 weeks in my opinion. But it's fine. New cards are fine. I got nothing out of my cool special packs, by the way. And ranked mode is interesting. So, Megas are coming back to the TCG, like the real TCG, the paper TCG. This doesn't really excite me all that much, but it is cool. I did recently get back into cards, so I'm collecting cards again. But this specifically does not really interest me. I'd rather have seen like a set announcement. Megas themselves is not like mega interesting. Mega interesting. Phone case giveaway, who cares? I don't care. I was never cared about the phone cases. Mass outbreaks are fine. I just don't really play them. I maybe will do a Charcadet and a Finizen, though. And then the mightiest Pokemon. This surprised me because I thought we were done with 7-star raids. I thought the cycle was over, and then we would be, leading into ZA or whatever by now. Not like by now, but like today. I thought we'd be like doing something else. Like I thought we were done with Scarlet and Violet, I guess. But I guess this kind of proves that there's still a tiny bit of life left. And honestly, I like the 7 stars because they do give me a chance to pick up the game and play with my cousins and get the mighty Pokemon in a cool Pokeball. So this is the first time that these starters, Paldean starters, are capturable in any Pokeball. So that's pretty cool. like a Beast Ball or a, Kurt Pokeball or whatever. Interesting, right? Now, I don't know if this specifically means, like, these Pokemon. Like, are we going to get Salamence, Metagross, Garchomp, Hydreigon, etc.? I think that's what it's saying. But if so, I mean, that is... 3 plus 8 is 11 times 2. That's 22 weeks at least out. So 22 weeks is like 5 or 6-ish months, which would put us at August. So I guess it kind of lines up because, as we'll see later, I'm predicting ZA to release in November. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Okay, now this whole trailer obviously trolled us because we were all thinking it was going to be a retro game collection or something, or like Red and Green on Switch or whatever. And then it goes into Pokemon Stadium 2 and then Battle Revolution and then into Champions. Now, I am super, super hyped about Champions. I might want Champions more than ZA, but I can't say for sure. They're pretty equal on my like hype list. But I think the coolest thing about this is it's obviously home integrated. Going into Origin decks, you have all your Pokemon from the past games coming in from home. Maybe they're not all usable. It's also on mobile, and it's also got all the gimmicks like Mega Evolution, Terra, presumably Z moves, and Dynamax 2. So this is crazy to me. Like, this is the replacement for Showdown. Obviously, everyone's saying that. But it's so smart because if fans are going to make a fan game, why are they making a fan game? Because there's something missing in the main series, right? So, like, if you know about the company Blizzard, they do World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Warcraft. They are perfect, or they used to be perfect, at taking an idea of a game and making it better. Like, they took EverQuest and they made it into World of Warcraft, etc. or whatever. So that's what they do, and that was their business model, and they killed it back in the day. So not necessarily like that Pokemon is as good as Blizzard as taking an idea and making it better, but they're filling the hole that obviously Showdown has filled with an official means of getting that experience, which is the simulator battle experience like a Pokemon Stadium or a Pokemon Showdown. It's the same argument like why people pirate games or why people pirate movies. It's like, of course people are going to pirate classic Pokemon games because you don't even give them the option to play them on real hardware or current business model or whatever. You're not selling it to me, so of course I'm going to hack it or I'm going to play it on an emulator. So this is very smart in my opinion, and it's very needed in my opinion. Not that I hate Showdown, but it's like, yes, you need to kill Showdown because you have a player base. I don't know how many players play on Showdown, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. I have no idea. But those players are possibly not customers because you haven't given them the option to pay. Like the same people who are emulating classic Pokemon, there's probably a percentage of them that are not playing Scarlet and Violet. They're just playing classic Pokemon. They're not customers because you haven't given them the option to pay for Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, the classic games, whatever. Gold, Silver, Crystal, etc., Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, etc. But once you make it available, convenient, then people are going to be way more willing to pay. I think we are willing to pay for classic Pokemon games, for example, or willing to pay for Pokemon Stadium 3 or 4 or whatever this is, like a Showdown replacement. So I'm way more excited about Champions than ZA. ZA is obviously going to come out first, and I'm obviously going to play it, and it's probably going to be cool, but I'm very excited for Champions. And the trailer was dope, obviously, and then they show Megas, and the Battle Stadium is cool. I'm pretty sure this entire trailer is no gameplay, obviously, and the way they word it is has begun development. So to me, in my head, that means we're at least 2 years away. Yeah, now in development, Switch and mobile devices. This is easy 2027. If it comes earlier, I'll be happy but surprised. So obviously, this is the graphic for what I was talking about, the home integration. I'm hoping Champions is free with a home subscription. I think that makes the most sense. I guess they could make it a pay $20 or hopefully not $60. I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be a download only game. It's got to be, right? Because it's mobile. I don't know. Anyway, very cool. Okay, so this is talking about they're adding Latin America Spanish to the languages that they are going to translate the game in. This is cool to me because my wife is from Latin America, so I feel a little bit for her, and like her little brother, for example, is a Pokemon fan. Maybe my wife gets into Pokemon because of this. I don't know. She's pretty like English integrated by now, but this obviously is a big win. I think I don't know exactly the difference. Like, I know the games are currently in Spanish. I don't know if that's like Spain Spanish or Mexico Spanish. But Latin America Spanish means like South America Spanish, and it is different. It's actually different for every country, so I don't know exactly like the details on what this exactly means, but it is another language option, so that's obviously a good thing. I totally agree with this. Yeah, this is cool. So they are gonna print Pokemon cards in Spanish. I think they already print official Pokemon cards in Spanish, but maybe it'll be more widespread, like, available. The only reason I care about this is just so I would be able to buy Pokemon cards for my little brother-in-law. That's basically it. I probably wouldn't specifically collect Spanish cards just because I feel like English and Japanese are like the ones you collect. That's another topic, but like there is Korean and like I think Taiwanese cards and also Chinese cards too that are official. Okay, and then obviously the biggest hitter here, the ZA update. So I haven't rewatched this since this morning, and I have some thoughts. Basically, I'm kind of torn because to me, it looks like it's based off the Scarlet and Violet engine and not the Arceus engine. I don't know if they're different, but this is giving me way more Scarlet and Violet vibes. And it looks good. It looks like how Scarlet and Violet should have looked. Doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look like the best Switch game ever. But overall, I think it looks pretty good for 3D Pokemon standards. When I was watching this live with my two friends, I started cracking up when they showed the starters because obviously nobody predicted there were going to be two Pokemon from the same region. So it took me a second before I realized what was going on, but it's like Chikorita and Totodile and then Tepig. I don't know if this is just like a straight up troll. Probably the Kalos starters are going to be in the game. Honestly, I think I'm going to pick Tepig. I do love Gen 5. I don't really care about Chikorita, and I don't really care about Totodile. I'm always like I'm a fire starter stan. Like I always pick Cyndaquil. I usually pick the fire starter, so I'm probably on Team Tepig, honestly, and that's definitely the minority. And that'll kind of depend, I guess, if they get megas or regional forms or whatever. But I mean, like, okay, I mean, like, it's like low res, but for Pokemon standards, I think it looks good. Like the human models look really good. The Pokemon models always look good. They've always looked good since Sword and Shield, the Pokemon models. I don't think you can deny that. Kalos, obviously, like X and Y introduced outfits. I'm hoping that we get like a lot more outfit options. I have not liked the outfit options since X and Y. I didn't care about Sword and Shield outfits. I didn't care about Scarlet and Violet outfits. I just didn't care. Obviously, Megas are returning. No new Megas were shown, I'm pretty sure. Boy, AZ is here. He's looking dapper as heck. I don't know. And then Zygarde too. So I was confused because the teaser trailer a year ago was very different from the vibe that I got from this. It's so interesting because Game Freak's really throwing us off our track because Legends Arceus took place in the past, had the 3 distinct starters from different gens, and obviously the real-time like catching and battling mechanic or whatever. And then we get the teaser, so we're like, okay, is ZA in the future because of the techie like blue and stuff, or is it in the past because it's Legends? So Legends ZA is in the future, or it's in like, is this basically a sequel to X and Y? I mean, I'm just surprised at how many times we keep going back to X and Y and all this like Z ideas, because they obviously scrapped Pokemon Z, and that has just trickled into everything ever since. It's trickled into Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. It's trickled into like Sun and Moon, obviously, Z moves and all that. It's just kind of crazy how we keep going back to Z. Part of me feels like Pokemon Z was like so big that it just like wasn't ready or something. I don't know. It's just like there's so many things coming out of Pokemon Z. So like graphics wise, I don't feel like there's any slowdown, but I don't feel like it's 60 frames per second. Shadows are like kind of in and out, but the character models look crazy good. I think so. I'm not gonna go into like mechanics like the gates and the wild area. Like, I'm not the person for that. Overall though, I am pretty impressed. Like, it's gonna take place in the city. This is like expanding on the wild area from Sword and Shield, you know, like there's wild area zones or whatever. Oh, and this is the crazy part. They talk about it later, but they talk about how this is expanding on the Legends Arceus gameplay of like moving around the battlefield, where you actually can dodge moves and like your position matters and your attacks have distance and stuff like that. Like, I feel like they're just taking the Arceus gameplay a step farther, and I'm very excited about that. Hopefully it feels good to play. And I think the most important thing for me, I hope it feels good to physically move around. Like, my biggest problem with BDSP, to a tiny extent, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, was like physically moving, like walking around, just didn't feel right to me. I don't know if anyone else has ever felt that. I just feel like BDSP especially, like you hit a wall, you stop. It was weird, of course. And then Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, it's like the movement feels off, and that really triggers me. Legends ZA. Coming late 2025. I was really hoping for a release date. This basically confirms that it's coming out in November, in my opinion. Otherwise, they would have said coming in summer or coming in fall. Maybe they have to wait until the Switch 2 is announced before they can say more. But to me, it's not coming out any sooner than November. And I don't know what the Rotom phone has to do. I don't know if there's going to be like some kind of competitive, like this strikes me as like a battle tower. So maybe there is going to be somewhat of a competitive scene, but that's the only thing I can really think. Or is this like an evil message from an evil team? I don't know. It's where you get the ominous music, but Okay, so that's all. Those are my kind of impressions. I am very excited. I am sad that it is now, 8 or 9 months away. And I'm happy I don't have to buy a Switch right away. I can wait a little bit because probably the only game I want is Pokemon ZA. But now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm probably gonna want to get Mario Kart on release date. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm glad I woke up early for it. I'm glad I watched it live. I think I'm more excited about Champions than anything else, honestly. So that was the Pokemon Presents today for Pokemon Day. Those are my thoughts. What were your thoughts? What was your favorite part? Basically, do you like Champions more or do you like ZA more? Let me know. I'm curious what you think. There's a lot of reactions going around, obviously, and everyone's talking about it. We'll see in a few months how this turns out. Maybe we'll hear more about Champions. Probably not, is my guess. 2027, that's what I'm guessing. But we'll see. If you haven't already, check out my other videos. I do videos about the Origin Dex, which is my self-imposed challenge of collecting every Pokemon in every form of every Origin mark. And then I also started doing weekly-ish podcasts where I just pick a topic and kind of talk about some stuff, fun stuff. Like lately I've been talking about how I'm getting back into cards, Pokemon cards, and it's a fun time, and going to card shows and all that. So yeah, stay tuned for the next thing I do, and we'll find out more about these games down the road. Bye!